A sociologist once said that the average person will actually impact 10,000 people in a lifetime. Average person. But I think if you live your life in such a way that you're willing to serve and willing to give, right, you'll impact more than 10,000 people in a lifetime. Because when you think about it, yeah, you're more than likely, because it's all about like serving leadership, because giving is receiving turning inside out. So it's about like, how can you give, how can you support, how can you be a blessing to somebody else? Because when you think about it, like in everything I've done and everything you've done, there have been people that actually help you out along the way to achieve what you've done thus far. Nobody's done anything alone. I think that's why it's critical that we be purpose-filled to be willing to give back to others. Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Tyrone Smith coming to you live. All right, coming to you live from my house. We're keeping it virtual. We got the power session going with my man Rashard Carter, the man of the hour. Too sweet to be sour, Rashard, man. Thankful and grateful to have you in the house with this First and Goal Inc. power session, talking about virtual mentoring and leadership. You're a team member as well, man. So hey, we're gonna get it going today. Got a little Jay-Z playing like in the background. I know you from New York, son. I'm surprised you don't have your New York cap on. You know what I mean? Making it happen. All right, so man,
the rock.
What you say? What you say?
I throw the rock for you.
All right, good deal, good deal. Hey man, dude, it's a blessing, man, to have you on with the power session. You know, the power session is really designed to actually make sure the individuals be assured about their place and their position in regards to who they are, as we have this collaborative effort going on with First and Goal Inc., trying to empower individuals virtually about what it means to mentor, to use your influence to make an impact, but then really think about like leadership, because life is leadership and life is influence. And man, you know, it's an honor and a blessing, man, to actually have you on today. So with that being said, man, thank you for being on today, man, and introduce yourself to the people.
So first, let me just say, it's a privilege, man, because I was sitting there thinking when you talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and it's been, what, 20 years?
20 years in October, man.
I mean, man, that's incredible. I mean, just to think about the work that you have done and to be a part of it is a blessing. To introduce myself, so as you mentioned, my name is Rashard Carter, originally from the great state of New Jersey, small city by the name of Passaic, New Jersey. Went to school at the University of Iowa. After that, graduated with a degree in sociology and human relations. Was a teacher for many years back at home in New Jersey, then transitioned here to Texas, mainly because of the weather. Got tired of the snow. As well as my wife was wanting a little bit more greenery. So we moved here, myself and Carmen, and we've been here now for the past, I think going on 16, 17 years. We have two beautiful children, Amari, who's 13, teenager, and RJ, who turned 7. And let me not miss this opportunity just to say my wife and I just celebrated our, what was it? Ooh, 18-year anniversary.
18 years. Wow, man. Congratulations, man.
On Monday, bro. So yeah, so we super excited about that and want to give a big shout out to her. She's at work right now, working at Prairie View University, doing big things.
Hey man, you gotta give a shout out to her. What's that?
Yeah, I'm currently working from home. I work for a great company, Johnson & Johnson, working with patients who have mental health. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years, but been with J&J now for the past 15 years, man. 15 years been with Johnson & Johnson.
Man, 15 years. The people here are everything you have to say in regards to your life, your journey, being married, man, to Carmen, who's an awesome woman of God, man. You have awesome and phenomenal kids. And people hear you say all that. And man, so how did you even have time to be a part of First to Go with all those different things that you actually have going on? Because you've been a part of the project, man, in multiple capacities, as a mentor at various schools, as a youth service specialist on various collegiate experience programs we've had over the past couple of years. But how are you able to make it fit, man, with all the different things that you actually have going on?
That's a good question. I want to, I think one of the first things was, you know, I always had a love to give back. You know, it's funny, just this past Sunday, a good friend of mine, Pastor Owens, did a sermon that talked about that we are not where we're at by ourselves.
Right.
Always somebody that helped you get to where you're at. And so when me and you came engaged with one another at the church, and I saw what you was doing, I really wanted to be a part of that, not only in the church, but also outside of the church. And so when I decided to transition from being a school teacher to working for Johnson & Johnson, one of my prayers was, if I leave the classroom setting, give me an opportunity to still give back. And so I'm grateful to work for a company that gives me opportunities to, take some lunches off and, make my own schedule. So I was able to maneuver that around during the day in order to help out. It was a blessing to have the schools that I worked with during those lunch hours were in my territory. So it was simple not to eat a sandwich or bring a sandwich in with the kids and eat it with them. So that was something that worked out. And I think with the summer programs and things that we did when we went away to the different colleges, it's just having a supportive wife, realizing that what I was doing was bigger than me, and realizing that it's just another opportunity to give back and then encourage some young people. So putting them all the things together, having a happy home life with a supportive wife, but also realizing that God put me on this earth to really help individuals to see that you can accomplish things, because me and you've been there. Our stories are very similar to a lot of the kids that we mentor.
Hey, for those who just tuned in on Instagram Live and Facebook Live, we have my man Rashad Carter. He's in the house from New Jersey. He's in representing as a First and Goal team member. He works for Johnson & Johnson now. He's doing some major things, but he's always had time to be instrumental in the great work that we do with First and Goal Inc. as we prepare to celebrate 20 years in October. And Rashad has pretty much celebrated and been a part of the program, man, as a mentor in various schools that we've serviced. He's been a youth service specialist on different collegiate programs. He's done a myriad of programs and projects with First and Goal. He's done staff developments where we've actually went in to actually empower and challenge and encourage teachers, because he was once a teacher of the year for Houston Independent School District. So here it is, you have somebody in corporate, but yet he has the time to give back, to make an intentional connection with the young people. And man, that's one thing, Rashad, I've always appreciated about you, man, is that, it's hard for you to say no. You know what I mean? And man, let's talk about that a little bit, man, before we get into the segment on leadership. Why is it so hard for you to say no when it comes to just like giving back? Because it's hard for you to say no, man. I've seen you struggle a lot, man. But why is it hard for you to say no?
One of the things I truly believe is that it's not what you're doing right now is for you. I've heard Pastor West give sermons, and I've heard other people that are mentors of my own, close and far, talk about things that family members have done for others. And they reap the benefits of it, I remember growing up and we didn't have much, but my parents always gave to my friends in the community, or even kids that wasn't close to me. And I used to always look back and be like, man, we ain't got much. What you doing giving a little bit we got? But by them doing that, I've seen so many blessings that have been given to me, off, I believe, of the work that they put forth in the past. So now I think it's my opportunity to be able to give to so many young people. And as much as it seems like it's hard to say no, it's almost harder not to say yes, because you feel like, man, if I don't go out and help this one kid, he may be the one kid that really need my help. And if I turn my back to him or to her, what may happen to their life? So I'm real, I think it's a blessing to serve. To realize that if I'm able to help another life now, I truly believe somebody will be able to help my kids as they continue to grow, and my nephews and nieces and godsons and daughters and things of that nature. They'll be able to be blessed off of the fruit and the labor that I put forth amongst other kids.
And man, one of the key things you said, man, and everything that you said, which is pretty powerful and phenomenal, was about serving. And so that lead into our aspect and our segment on leadership. And I really think when you think about the work that we do with First and Goal Inc. and all the individuals who've been a part of the team for all these years, as we prepare to celebrate 20 years, I think it's about like servant leadership. You know what I mean? You got to be willing to serve. I mean, one thing I appreciate and loved about Jesus, man, that he actually served the people, right? And so when you think about leadership, why is leadership necessary in today's world? And like, how do you lead? Although you answer some of it, but how is leadership necessary in today's world? And actually, how do you lead as an individual?
Well, I think it's very, very, very important. I think our kids, as well as adults, are given so much information on a daily basis. You know,
Yeah.
we grew up in an era where our parents had to get information ordering those encyclopedias that we seem like we never
Right.
used.
Right. Right.
Like every family had a stack
Yeah.
of encyclopedias that I don't know
Yeah.
how it got there, but we had them. But now our kids are able to get so much information just by typing in a couple of words and hitting enter,
Right.
and then boom,
Right.
the world is theirs. And a lot of that information may not be the right information. And so I believe that leadership puts you in, well, the way I want to lead is to put them into somewhere, somebody they can touch, somebody they can talk to, somebody they can relate to, and be able to have a decent conversation with them to be able to get them to understand right from wrong.
Yeah.
Be able to pick their brain. I think one of the big points about being a leader, especially in the mentorships that we do, is that we recognize that kids are where they're at for a reason. And we may see something a little bit deeper in them that even they see in themselves.
Right.
So we have a great opportunity for us to be able to manage their expectations, but also to be able to help them reach limits that maybe they thought that they couldn't reach. And so I think by us pouring into them, we can be able to help shape and mold them into a direction that maybe they didn't even believe they had. But I think even more importantly, and I learned this from you and the team that we're a part of, is that we not only talk the talk, we put forward the best opportunity to walk the walk. Not saying we don't make mistakes, not saying we're perfect, but one of the things that we do is that we make conscious effort so that when our kids see us, whether it's at church, whether it's in the store, whether it's at the park, with our wives, with our kids, they continue to still see the same Rashard Carter, the same Tyrone Smith, no matter what environment that we're in. And I believe that's true leadership, that we don't have to put one face on at one situation and another face on at another. No, you're going to see a genuine, true individual each and every time you step in front of me. And I believe that's the image our kids need to see, to realize that they can be who they've been called to be in any situation that they're in.
Man, leadership is influence. The sociologist said that the average person will actually impact 10,000 people in a lifetime. And I truly believe if you're intentional in regards to how you lead and you lead purposeful, I think that you will really impact more than 10,000 people in a lifetime, because those people you actually impact will go and impact somebody else. And I think this whole power session series is really about bringing individuals who've really been a part of the journey in regards to first and goal, in regards to impacting lives of young people, but at the same time knowing their position and being unashamed to support those along the way. There's one thing I think about leadership. It was actually, I read something last week that said when you lead, right, and when you're climbing, you have to be willing to like lift people up with you as well. So you can be climbing as you're leading, but you got to be lifting. So if you're not lifting anybody, I don't really think you're leading. So thank you, man, for giving that insight, Rashard, in regards to like leadership. And the next point of focus in the power session, we're going to talk about like life. You know what I mean? Life. And so when I talk about life, what is life like for you now, and how are you inspired to live? What is life like for you now, and how are you inspired to live?
That's a great question, man. I think when we first met each other, I didn't have no kids. So I think we've been doing this for about 16 years.
Yeah.
I'm 13, so I had no children. And I think my life was different then. You know, it was to be honest, it could have been somewhat selfish, you know, about self. And then, you know, I'm married, so I'm thinking about my wife, and it was just us two. And we didn't really have no responsibilities other than ourselves.
Right.
Once we had children, that changed everything. I get this a lot. I mean, it really is like every decision you make is like, man, like how is it going to be beneficial for these two little individuals that are looking at me for direction? My brother-in-law Mike always mentions that legacy is huge. To be able to leave a legacy for your kids to follow. And so when I think about leading now and just decisions that I make, it's always having them not only in the back of my mind, but in the front of my mind. My whole entire family. I've grown through this process of these last 16 years being in Houston. I think, you know, came in as an individual who thought he knew everything, got humbled quickly, and then being able to realize that there's still a lot to learn.
Right.
Individuals like yourself and good friends that, we have, from the church and outside of the church that we call each other accountability brothers.
Yeah.
That we're all able to pour into each other to help us be the best that we can be for our families. So I look at now surrounding myself with individuals who are going to build me up and encourage me to be the best I can be, but not just for me, but for my children, my wife, and all those that I come in contact with. So I think that mindset is something that is on me every day. Every day, it's like we talk about it with the kids about that, those 24 hours, like what are we going to do in those 24 hours?
Right.
And I want every day to count.
Yeah.
I want every single day to be able to say I made a difference in somebody's life. And I believe it starts here in my home.
Yeah.
Because I feel if you can't take care of the people here, then it's not beneficial to go outside of your home and try to take care of them and leaving the people here, not satisfied.
For sure. I mean, it's big of you to say that, man. And so with everything going on in the world due to COVID-19 and this pandemic, if there was one thing, what is one thing you would say with somebody who's really just struggling and dealing with life right now due to everything that's actually going on right now? What is like that one nugget that you would give or share or say to them, because right now they're like in dire needs because what's going on due to this pandemic?
I would say find some quiet time. I think one of the things, and I'll keep referencing us because we talk every day multiple times, and it's things that we always say is like, man, I need some quiet time. Yeah. I think we're able to realize that we can turn off the TV, turn off the social media, turn off the phone, and just find a place where you can just sit. And if you're a spiritual person, maybe you're sitting there with speaking to God. If you're just an individual that's into nature, you're allowing nature to take, the calmness over you. The one thing I would say is just find an area where you can just remove distractions. I think that's huge. I think number two is to not be ashamed to talk about your feelings. Yeah. Especially this month right now is Minority Mental Health Month. Definitely. And one of the things in our community is that we don't speak about the mental capacity that may be holding us back, or maybe holding us down, that may be draining us. We have to be able to be mature enough or be vulnerable enough. Vulnerable, yeah. To be able to speak about what may be hindering us or stopping us from growing. And then I think you, not only do you need to speak, but find somebody that is going to be accountable with you. Not somebody who just want to know your business, not somebody who feel like they got all the answers, somebody that you trust who may not have no answers. You just may need somebody just to listen to what you got to say. Right. And just need the other person just need to sit there. So I would say, and not to ramble on, but just to say, I would say find a quiet area, get to yourself. Number two, be able to speak your truth. What are you feeling to someone that is going to be able to help you get through that struggle as you're dealing with this. And for me, one of the big things is I just believe in God, man. I mean, I know that sounds simple and easy to say, but God has been with me through the good, the bad, and everything in between. Yeah. And I believe that he's the same God that he was when things were going great. He's the same God that is when I felt like it was some turmoil going on. Yeah. So if he's been with me for the last 44 years and hasn't never let me down, then surely a pandemic like this, I truly believe that he'll be with me as well. And that would be the other thing I would tell him, trust in God because he won't let you down.
Hey man, it's cool, man. It's all about like speaking your truth and knowing your truth and being able to level set. I mean, I think people need that. When you think about like everything we're dealing with and going through, that's why I think, leading by example, by creating a virtual opportunity environment to have conversations like this, I think is key. But then when you think about life, it's what we live and what we do. And I think people need to hear, from others, like, how do you do it? But then at the same time, how can I do it if I'm battling or struggling or dealing with something? So the information that you actually shared, man, is really key. And when you talk about the mental health aspect, man, that's big because, culturally, a lot of Blacks tend to or African Americans or whatever gender or ethnicity, most people pretty much tend to internalize whatever they're dealing with and going through. And I know in my family growing up, man, we didn't talk about a lot of stuff. So that was like a learned behavior that I picked up, but I had to realize, no, man, although I'm functioning as an individual, there's some dysfunctions I need to deal with in the rest of my life to be a better version of myself. So I think it's all about being open, honest, genuine, and real, but being vulnerable at the same time. You think about life to do better and be better. So definitely thanks, man, for sharing that, man. So I'm glad you mentioned that about mental health because you know you have a lot of people, man, that really just aren't open and genuine about addressing those deeper hurts and issues, man. So thanks for sharing that
Yeah,
information.
when you mentioned that, if I could just talk a little bit about that real quick. I just did a talk yesterday with over 500 individuals for my job, and
Yeah.
I was on a panel discussion about, you know, how minorities face mental health. And a couple of key components that happens is that many of us are hit with mental health situations and we don't have the resources to go out and speak to somebody, right?
Right.
Because we haven't been raised to know that there are special doctors for special situations. We
Right.
call specialty physicians. You know, you have your,
Right.
you know, your cardiovascular doctors, your orthopedics, your OBGYN, and you have your psychiatrist.
Right.
And one of the things that the church almost becomes a double-edged sword is we're part of a community where we go to church for everything, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, your marriage ain't good, go to the pastor. You know, your rent due and you ain't got the money, go to the church. You know, and so when you look at mental health, something ain't right, you go to the church. And those are all good things to do. Don't get me wrong. I also believe that there is a space for us to go talk to a professional who can be able to help guide you and direct you when you're dealing with mental issues.
Yeah, that's big, man. Thanks for sharing that information, man. So think about it. You know, if you black, white, Latino, I mean, your mental health is like a valuable aspect of who you are and what you do, and it boils down to your emotions. All right.
Absolutely.
The last piece we're gonna roll into with Shaw, man, is about legacy. All right, like, and you tapped into it a little bit earlier. You've been kind of like checking all the boxes, man.
My bad, dude. My bad.
Prepared. No, it's all about preparation, dude. I can tell. You know, you play wide receiver, man. I can tell you prepare. You studied a little film, you know. But
a little film. I studied a lot of film. University of Iowa. Coach Patterson made sure we studied a lot of film, brother. We'd have had you on film, brother. We'd have known your weakest, your weaknesses, your strengths, and everything else in between.
Hey, so, you know, he's going football talk, people. You know what I'm saying? He's digressed. I won't go there. You know what I mean? Many of men thought the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But we'll bring that back together for the next show. You know what I mean? But it's all good, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, think about this when you think about like legacy. I knew you was gonna put that plug in, though, man. You was gonna put it in, dude.
Go Hawks. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Hey, sick and bears. You know what I'm saying? Be you in the house. All right. When you think about legacy, what is the lasting legacy that you would like to leave? When you think about legacy, life lasting, what's a lasting legacy that you would like to leave as a man, your mark on this world? What's going to be your legacy?
I think it's a couple folds, right? I think number one is that I love the Lord, and I truly try to honor Him in all that I do.
Yeah.
I think on the other end is that I love my wife, and I've always, you know, tried to show just how much I appreciate her, not only to her, but also anyone that around with her, to let her know that she is the center of our household. I think three, when I think about my kids, is that I want them to look at me as a measuring stick to what a man is supposed to be like. And that's intentional, you know, like I want my daughter to really, when it's time for her to, you know, select a husband, that he measures up to my dad. You know, I put her on a pedestal. I try to give her the best of everything because I think that's what she deserves. And when it comes to RJ, my namesake, is that I want him obviously to be better than me, but I want him to have the principles that I believe what truly makes a man. Be honest, you know, be impeccable with your words, be able to hang around people that are going to encourage you. You know, that's why, you know, it's funny that I have my, you know, RJ always jokes, like, man, you got a lot of brothers. I'm like, what you mean? Well, I got Uncle Tyrone, I got Uncle Damon, Uncle Ty, Uncle Ken, Uncle Percy. Like, mom had a whole bunch of kids, and I had to explain to her, like, me, my kids. But he understands that, you know, these individuals are people in his life that mean a lot to his dad. And that I always try to tell them, even when Isaiah, you know, was with us, that if you speak to them, it's just like speaking to me. And I think, you know, so my legacy overall is those things, but just that and I think when it comes to brothers, right? I value friendship. I want my boys to feel like I am their best friend, that I got their back and I love them. I love their families. I love their kids, you know, and that's something that I'm meaningful about, and I'm intentional about them feeling that way. It's not by accident that I want to be close to these individuals.
Man, that's good stuff, man. Way to break that thing down, man. 'Cause I think that, you know, here on earth, we have the capacity, man, to lead in all that we do and live our life to the fullest. But at the end of the day, what is going to be our lasting legacy, right? And I think that's really critical. And that's one of the reasons why we actually have this power session, where it's impactful, 30-minute session in regards to talking and dialoguing, but at the same time challenging individuals to look inwardly at themselves, to think about how can they lead better, how can they live life better, and what's going to be your lasting legacy. Because I think we need to be thinking about that, because it's critical. And then when you think about the work we do with First and Goal, it's about, man, leadership, life, and legacy. I mean, that's why I'm so excited to have individuals like yourself who are team members and other former alum and individuals who are going to be coming on the show over the next couple of months that are doing some phenomenal things, because they didn't grow up in the best situation like you or myself, but they saw and they realized their purpose in life to lead their life with a legacy in mind. I think that's what this power session is actually all about. And I'm just really grateful and thankful, man, you was able to tune in and be a part of the segment today.
Well, man, thanks a lot for having me, bro. And I really want to say I commend you, my sister DeMonica, for all what you guys have done. I'm not just saying this because I'm part of the team, but I'm a fan of what First and Goal that, you know, is doing and has done. And I will be remiss by saying that I look forward to continuing to be a part of this team, because I really believe that it's really making a difference in everybody's lives.
Man, appreciate those words and sentiments, man. I let Monica know as well, man. And Monica's my wife, so I thank God for her, man. She's been in this journey with me, man, for over 23 years in regards to doing the work with First and Goal, when it was like a thought, idea, and a vision. And so, like you said, man, it's a collective effort, but it's individuals like you as well as others who really made this thing go. And we're about to celebrate 20 years in October, and I'm grateful and thankful for that. And man, we have to pretty much hit the pivot as well as far as resetting things, because we're about to launch our virtual First and Goal Journey Beyond Dreams College Experience program, and our virtual Prepare to Dream program with all the ISD that we're putting together. So with everything being virtual, we're still able to pivot and reset to do quality work. And that's just like maybe one or multiple things that we're going to be releasing on our website over the next couple of weeks in regards to continue to make a difference. And if you like to support First and Goal or donate or be a part of any way that we actually have going on, you can go to our website at teamfirstandgoal.org, TEAMFIRSTANDGOAL.org. Building tomorrow, leaders today. That is what we're about as an organization. It's individuals like Rashad Carter, Chelsea Davis-Bibb. You guys will meet Roman Coronado actually on next week. He's doing some major things with Bank of America, with the Merle as a financial advisor. So man, I'm looking forward, man, to what God is doing. And Rashad, man, thank you, man, for being a mainstay with supporting the work, man, because individuals like you to make this thing happen.
Appreciate it, man. It's a blessing to be a part of the team. I love it.
Hey, so, you know, so we definitely gonna do it again, man. You know what I mean? I gotta kind of, you know, get you out of here, man.
All right.
Something, man, for the man, CeeLo Green.
Okay.
All right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, give me that. Give me that. I'll take that.
Hey, but at the same time, I know you want to bust around, man, but you don't get the people nothing right now. I need you to practice a little bit, bro.
They gotta pay for that, bro. They gotta pay for my flows.
They gotta pay for your flow.
I got it,
man, for real, man. Thanks again,
dude. Love you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Love you too, man.
All
right, everybody. That's it for the power session, man. This week at First and Goal. Tyrone Smith, your host, with my man in the hour, Too Sweet to Be Sour, with Rashad Carter. Signing off.
Peace, brother.
NFL turned mentor / author / soldier on the front line of change. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tyrone Smith. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Man, good morning, KG, man. Thankful and grateful to be here, brother. Do you understand, realize, and know your purpose and your plan based on the influence that God has given each and every one of you in regards to your lives that you have as individuals? Do you know that you're destined to be great? What is the collective group dynamic for your guys' team? Everybody want to win. But the thing about it is, you have to be willing to win. You have to be willing to commit yourself to whatever it is you need to do daily to be the best that you can be. Leaders. But the thing that you must understand in regards to your life, you cannot lead anybody else until you lead who first? Yourself. You got to be the example. You got to be the example. Because one thing I want you all to realize and understand about leadership, leadership is influence, and it's all about how you use your influence.
Hi, this is Jennifer Morataya, and I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Mr. Tyrone Smith for impacting, empowering, and inspiring our students, our staff, and college leaders. With your high energy, your words of wisdom, and your storytelling, you have kept us all engaged in a virtual space. Not only are you a positive role model for our students, but you have challenged them to take action and become better versions of themselves. So thank you for helping us build tomorrow's leaders today.